Hello, everyone. This is Michael Walter. Welcome to Michael Ventures. My guest today is Lizbeth Victoria Rodriguez of the Walt Disney Company. How you been?
Hi, I've been doing well. How about yourself?
Good, very good. Thanks so much for doing this interview. I gotta tell you, I had the
Mhm.
absolute pleasure of being at the
Ah,
Animation Conservation where you taught us how to do Bambi, and such an informative class. And one thing I loved about that was that people of all different ages were there, young and old, and you guided us through so easily, and everyone came out with great results thanks to you. So I thank you for that.
no,
Gratitude.
thank you. I truly enjoyed just teaching art and animation to anybody. It's such a great pleasure. So I'm glad you had a great time.
We all did, surely. So, with any story, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Mhm. I'm from Puerto Rico, a little tiny born and raised over there. And I it wasn't until I went to study my bachelor's in animation that I left Puerto Rico to here to the US. So it's been already 2017, around that time.
When did you knew that art was something you wanted to do for a living?
Oh, okay. I know that art was going to be part of me for since I was basically like 4 years old. According to my mom, and she even has the drawing for it. Uh, she asked me to draw her a giraffe, and I went in with a pen, not even with a pencil, with a pen, and I just drew her this giraffe that it's eating from a tree. And I went in and I color it too, and she was so impressed by how well described that giraffe is, how well it looked, that she even put it on a frame. And after that, I just instead of getting like regular, coloring books and stuff, I just got sketchbooks and I just drew and drew and drew. And I was constantly nonstop just drawing. But when I was growing up, even though I was studying arts and I did like after school programs and I was doing art on the side, I didn't think I could do a career out of art. That didn't look like a possibility. And you always had that idea of artists are always starving, and that is a very bad notation. That is not true at all. But it wasn't until I went to one of the college fairs that I had nearby my school that I learned that animation was a possibility. And I always loved animated films, animated series. I was obsessed with The Lion King. I watched a lot of anime also. And actually, a lot of the stuff that I learned to be as a person to grow up was through watching series and movies such as that one. They were very important part of my growing up and also important for my learning English. And I realized like, okay, so that's a possibility. Should I throw myself for it? Do I even have the money to do so? And one of the schools that was offered was SCAD, which is Savannah College of Art and Design. Really great school, highly recommended. And they offered me scholarships to be able to study there. And with that, plus a lot of essays and aside scholarships that I made apart from the school route, I was able to gain enough money to be able to study. And it was such a formative experience. I've learned so much from people who worked in the animation industry. I made so many great friends. I throw myself in this crazy environment. And through there, I learned about storyboarding. And that was the moment that I said, yes, this is it. This is what I want to do for my career. This is what I want to do with life. And it took kind of like 20 years for me to get to that point. So that's
We're all,
how I,
we're all glad you are at that point.
yeah.
Always. So, what was your first exposure with anything Disney?
Anything Disney. So exposure as in watching movies or like working for Disney.
Like going to the parks, working with
Oh,
Disney, anything.
okay. So definitely watching the movies. Apparently my first Disney movie that I watched on theaters was Tarzan.
That's
And I
my
was,
favorite.
I love Tarzan. It's so good. So that was my first like movie theater experience watching Tarzan. And I was like, I don't know if I was like 4 or 5, I don't even remember, but I still have that memory. Also, my parents had the opportunity to bring me to the parks when I was young too. And I remember going to MGM, which is now Hollywood Studios. And it was still during that time that they still had the animation building. And they also had the drawing classes. So that was like my first experience seeing somebody creating animation. And I saw them from the screen up view. And even if I was like small, I didn't comprehend what was going on, but I know that I was just like amazed by it. And also I did a lot of the classes that I'm teaching right now. I did them nonstop when I was over there. So I went a lot to, not a lot, but um, I went to the parks a few times when I was younger, and I just kept up with all the movies. I just kept watching them nonstop. Had a bunch of VHS tapes, and also video games. I love Kingdom Hearts. That's like my main fandom. I love it. It's very dear to my heart. And seeing something that is Disney related, but also has like Japanese influence on it, it was like the best combination for me.
Who doesn't love Kingdom Hearts?
Oh,
Especially it has almost every Disney movie in it.
yeah, exactly. And hopefully, let's see what else they're gonna bring into the new game. Maybe even
New
some.
game.
Yeah, so there's a new game, Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna release. I don't know when, but it is the next game that they're working on. And there is a theory. We're not sure how true that is, but in the latest trailer that they released, there is a small glimpse of like a forest area that kind of looks like Endor. So maybe some Star Wars, who knows? But that's just a theory. Nothing confirmed.
Uh,
Mhm.
so in 2017, you co-founded and also taught a program called Animate. How did this
Yes.
program get started? What was your inspiration behind this?
Okay, so that was on my last year of college. I had two friends, and we were all from Latin American countries, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and we were thinking about how we wish we could have brought everything that we learned back home and teach it to generations so that by the time that they grow up, they see that this is a possibility. So we decided to make this summer camp, and actually, it's a word that it's written that it looks like it's in English, but it's actually in Spanish, and it's animate. And that word has two meanings. So animate, yeah, we can relate it to animation, but also the word animate is also like bring yourself, be joyful. So we were playing around with the words like, yes, we're gonna create a summer camp that is also very fun, educational, and you learn about animation. And we separated each of us. We were teaching something different. I was teaching story, everything that had to do with creating stories, storyboarding. Um, One of my friends, she did 2D animation, so all the principles of animation. And we also did a little bit of stop motion. So three of us, we were working on it. We gave two programs while being over there in Puerto Rico. So we brought it back after we graduated. It was great. We had kids from like 14-year olds that never animated in their life. And we gave them the tools to be able to learn how to animate. And we made it in a way that it's not like you have to purchase like Photoshop or Adobe or anything of the sorts. We made it accessible for them. Actually, we got one of those like light tables, the 20 bucks, $20 ones, very cheap, very thin. So we got that. We got some animation packs that we made ourselves and gift them to them. And we got them uh, very cheap copy machine papers. And with just that, they were able to animate by drawing hand drawn animations, using their phones to record and put together the images. And they ended up creating like two or three short animations. We don't have that on a website because we want to keep them personal for the kids. But even on the first day, one of my favorite memories, we have an animation test um that is morphing corpse. I'm not sure if that's the term, but it's basically we have two drawings. I draw something, you draw something, and I'm gonna give you a copy of my drawing, and then you are gonna animate from your drawing to my drawing, and I will do the same transition the other way, so that it's always just a loop. And we only made them do 12 pages, and we did that in the morning. In the afternoon, I went ahead and I put everything together in an animation movie, and they saw the results on the same day they started the program, and they saw that they were able to make their drawings move. And there was this kid that he was so impressed by it. 3 days later, he was doing animation with his whiteboard and taking pictures, which is amazing. And see how in a little time you can inspire so much.
Absolutely incredible. How important is hand-drawn animation? I'm sure we're all hoping that hand-drawn animation does come back in some way.
We're hoping, hopefully, with the new movie, we get a little bit more of uh, a remembering of how great hand-drawn animation is, and Wish is looking, it's going towards the right direction.
Speaking of animation, quick note, I will highly recommend Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, which features every animation on the face of this
Yes.
planet.
Ah,
Incredibly
it's
funny,
so
wonderful
good.
movie.
Oh, there's so many references in there. There's actually even a Kingdom Hearts reference. You can see the Kingdom Key and Sora's hair on one of the scenes. I won't spoil which one.
I think I know
Um,
which one that is.
but it's so great seeing all those references. You can tell that those who worked on that film, they really loved all the references that they put in there, and they had love,
Absolutely.
care, and we need more of that on today's media, definitely.
Definitely. So,
Mhm.
how did you first, how did you, how, when did you first start your job at Disney's Animal Kingdom at the animation conservation?
So that job specifically in
Yeah,
December. I
this
started in
December?
December. This December, yes. I am brand new. So I haven't been there for a long time. I'm actually one of the newbies. Um, Before that, I did different roles throughout the company. I started in Animal Kingdom as part of Creature Comforts, which is the Starbucks over there. I was there for around like 2 years. After that, I went to become opening team for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. And it was a great opportunity because that is the France Pavilion. And because of the pandemic, all of our ICPs, international cast members, they had to go back to their um, home locations. So they needed us locals to work on those pavilions until the international people can come back.
Yeah.
But other after that, I was gonna get displaced to Dinosaur, and I was doing my training over there. And before that, they had an opening available for the animation experience, which was I was like, okay, I'm going head on. I put in my interest. I did the interviews. It was a long interview process because not only they would check if you knew what you were talking about and your interest in animation, but also if you're able to draw and teach at the same time. So I went through the whole process. It sounded like I got the job. And then a month passed, nothing, crickets. And I was like, okay, well, I just wrote back, hey, is there any possibility if there's something I did wrong? Can you tell me what it is? And they were like, no, you were great, but we chose someone else. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Sounds about right. Later on, when I got displaced into Dinosaur during that my training week over there, I got a message saying, hey, are you still interested? And I'm like, of course I am. Of course I'm interested. And then suddenly there I got my position into the animation experience, which was amazing. I was so happy. I never worked in actual position at Dinosaur. I only did my training and then I left. And I actually got trained during the week of Christmas. That was my training week. And
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a lot of people. Definitely a challenge, but wonderful nonetheless. I was so happy that I was able to do what I love, which is drawing. I love teaching. It was like the perfect combination.
What advice would you give for anyone thinking about or dreaming of getting into animation?
Okay, first, you gotta create, you gotta draw. It doesn't matter if you feel you're not good at it. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're never gonna reach that goal. Just do it. Just draw, draw anything. Like draw things that you love. Because that's the thing. When you start practicing and practicing and practicing, you're gonna get better. Don't expect that you're gonna be excellent at the first time. That's not how it works. This is hard work. This is like training to be an athlete. You have to train your body, you have to train your mind to be able to create the things that you want to create. And also, you cannot create if you don't live. And what do I mean by that? In animation is not just you make drawings and they move and that's it. No, you are telling stories. You are creating these characters, these environments, these props that all have life. But you can't create that illusion of life if you haven't experienced life yourself. So be open to try new things, to explore the world, to go out there and like have connections with people, because that is what you bring back in. Actually, one of my professors, he used to work at Disney as a effects artist, and he would tell us a lot that an animator is not just an animator. An animator is an architect, is a fashion designer, is a historian, is a psychologist, is an actor. It's basically all of these elements that create life. You have to learn from it so you can also create that life. And just surround yourself with things that you love. That will inspire you to create more. And don't give up. Get all those bad drawings out. You're going to get better at the end. So don't give up. Keep at it. Search on YouTube. There's a bunch of classes and really good um, people who work on the industry telling their stories. Be open to listen to many stories, because that way that will motivate you to keep on with your own. And sorry if you hear meow, I have a cat and she's just running around.
Thank you so much for doing this interview, Elizabeth. Can't wait to see what more from you. And one last thing. So for those of you, those of us who are listening in, where can we find you on social media? And will you be at the animation experience in the coming weeks?
Yes. So I'm working nonstop at the animation experience this time. I don't know the schedule. The schedule we learned it the day off, but you can find me on social media. I am on Instagram as Lisbeth Victoria underscore arte. The same thing over at Facebook. And those are my only online presence for the moment.
Very cool. Thanks so much for doing this, Elizabeth. Everyone, thanks so much for tuning into this channel. Everyone, subscribe if you can. And Elizabeth, hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a wonderful day, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.